We left off Yud. Yeah, he had brought earlier, we were speaking about how far up do you make the hole on the garment. So he said, Gimel Gudlin, right? 3 thumb, the breadth of the joint, knuckle joint, 3 of them going up. So he decided it was a machlokas. Does it mean immediately afterwards? Could you put it, or it has to be within the 3? Like within the third, it should be within the third. So he cited an argument. So here there's a Be'er Alocha on it, on page 42. Yasir Nekev, I'm Mishna Berura in Beis Nekovim. What about, he spoke about 1 hole versus 2 hole, right? V'zelosh mimgorim ein osin rak nekev echod. V'osa Beis Nekovim, Yasir b'mishor lo balachson. He says if you have 2 holes, they should be horizontal or vertical. It's not be on a diagonal. The beged, you begin counting the 3 etzbos, from the first hole of the garment. Lo me'asheni. So tzad yud tzad smol balach so modin gimel etzbos nekav rishon beged lo me'asheni. Okay. Hainu gudolim, ein tash kos mokum rochav agodo and frimagorim. Yeah. The Lizor lasses nekev dafko toch etzba shlishis kodem hashlomoso. It should be made within the third. Al kenim yitze yochol limdod hagimel etzbos hamakmitza. Okay, let's go further. We're holding Yud. Im hoye rochov me'akonov melo kesher agudol. We said that it has to be minimally off the corner, the length of the knuckle to the nail of the thumb, right? It cannot be, because that's called below the corner, that's not on the corner, right? So he says, Im hoye rochim yakorov lo kesher gudel. It was that distance. V'nitko mechute ha'erev ad shlo nisha bo kosher. Meaning when it was inserted in the garment, it was sufficiently high up enough. Then afterwards, some of the material, the threads were torn, and as a result of being torn, it came down further. It came down within that space. It's kosher. Since when he made the tzitzis, it was inserted high enough. It was that distance off the corner, that it was torn down further afterwards doesn't make a difference. So he says, what do we do to prevent it? Of course, it's not l'chatchila, hago. V'nogin lasus imro sov v'anekiv. You make a border around the hole. You sew around the hole to secure the hole. Because otherwise, if not, it tears very easily. Right? The hole that you insert, that you put the string through. Take a look, it's reinforced. It's a reinforced hole. It shouldn't be torn down, and then it'll be less than where it should be. It'll be okay. He says that's why they also put like a border at the end. If you wouldn't have a border at the end, very often, it would tear right out. So when you have that border sewn at the edge, it reinforces it. So even if the material gets torn, it stops at the edge. Because they have that border sewn on. Let's see the Mishna Berura Yud. V'nitko huadin im nikra be'anekev ad shel dizel lo nisha bo keshir. Rather than just the thread tearing, let's say the material was torn, and now it tears down toward the edge of the garment. I feel nasis et tekef achar chuli rishona. in Makesher. Look at the Here, what happened? He made the first double knot with the twist around it, and the second double knot. First double knot, he ties it to the garment, does the twist, a second double knot. So he hasn't even completed the tzitzis, and now it gets torn down. And it's still hanging on to the corner with a thread, but it's still attached. It's considered kosher. Mechute erev, it's still considered kosher. Why? Because the mitzvah is what? Is really that first, the knots with the twist around it. That's called, because it's called gedil. The Torah says you have to make a gedil. Gedil besides the strings, the knots with the twist around it. One of them is already classified as gedil. Mechuti erev memela nismait orech habeged al yidei zeh fi b'shivur l'samuch habeged baruch bo. Okay, b'shor. So we say it's valid because since when he made the tzitzis, everything was correct. Ukrok siv also lem tzitzis al kanfi bigdeim. Everything is determined when you make the tzitzis. Look, vidu Torah ela b'shosh b'shatzasiyo yalakonov. Then one does have to be on the corner, not below the corner. That's at the time you make the tzitzis. Tzitzis that initially were inserted properly. What about the garment has kosher tzitzis because it tore down afterwards, and now he wants to reinsert new tzitzis, and now he's going to remove the old tzitzis. We'll say, well, the garment itself has tzitzis now, so since it's functioning as a garment with tzitzis, he insert new tzitzis. Can't do it. Because once you remove the old tzitzis, it's as if the garment never had tzitzis. So what are the tzitzis? The tzitzis are the new tzitzis. And since it says when you make the tzitzis, it has to be on the corner, not below the corner, so the second tzitzis weren't made properly. So if that's the case, they're posel. You have to reinforce, re-sew that hole. Go ahead. Yes, yes, definitely. You could even push it up higher and reinforce it, and now remove it and put tzitzis in the higher location. Not a problem.
Are we talking about a tear in the hole?
The hole?
The hole gets torn so that it's much closer.
Correct, to the edge. That's what we're talking about.
You can take out.
Because it's usually reinforced.
That's why buttonholes are always reinforced.
Exactly, for that same reason. Yeah, but the pressure you have on tzitzis is a little more. It's not reinforced sufficiently, it will tear, ultimately. First, the string is a thicker string, and also you're always tugging at it. It gets caught, whatever it may be.
Rabbi, if you tore it through the whole garment, and you want to put tzitzis back, you take off all the other tzitzis, and then...
Wait. You mean it tore totally off the garment?
Yeah. One side, one corner tore right through, right? So now does that mean that you...
If the corner is still called a corner, no.
What do you mean?
We had earlier, if you have a four-corner garment, then one of the corners gets torn off. So it's a three-cornered garment. So the tzitzis that you had from before are no longer on the garment that's obligated in tzitzis.
Correct.
Here, even if the hole tears through,
Right.
you still have the corner. So the three tzitzis you have on are still on a four-cornered garment, and they were made properly. So what you have to do is you have to fix the hole, because it's still, and you redo the fourth corner. It's not taslo minosoi, because the garment retains its status as a garment that you're obligated to put tzitzis into it. Okay?
What is preferable? Is it preferable to put a fifth tzitzis before removing the fourth, or is it?
You're not permitted.
So if one tzitzis is
Possible. It's possible. If it's possible, but again, until it tears out of the garment, it's not off. It's still valid.
Once it gets off, you have to make the new.
You mean it tore out totally?
Yes.
It tore off?
Yes.
Of course, you have to make a new one.
But you can't.
Taslo min also. No, the corner's okay. The corners that could be still intact. Right? You can't. You have to undo the strings and retie it. That's what you have to do. Okay, let's see over here. Back to the Mechaber. יש אומרים שבתוך רוחב הבגד אין לו שיר. That the width of the garment has no specific size. We'll see what this means. That just as you have to have a certain length to the garment, it has to have a certain width. First one says only length, not width. The other one says, as the length has to be a certain length. We spoke about 18 by 18. The width also has to have a certain width. Let's see the Mishna Berura. No, we have before. He says it's best to reinforce the hole, because what happens if it tears down? What are people going to say? Mm-hmm. People say the tzitzis were never made properly, because if they're made within that, so close, within the proximity of the edge, it's not valid. Because people say, he says, not everybody is adept in proficient in halacha. Yishom shebtoch. The svirlu, the ikar shem konav shayach al sof hatachton shel orach habeged. Haha, lo rochav habeged. Now you hear what the discussion is. When we said it has to be within a certain distance from the corner, is it the width of the garment? What about the length of the garment? Let's say it's sufficiently far enough from the edge, from the lower edge, which is the width. What about from the side? Let's say he attaches it on the side, 3 inches up, within 2.5 inches up, and it's right at the edge. So if you measure down to the bottom, it's beyond the 1.5 inches. It's beyond the 1.5 inches. So some say the main thing is it should be from the width of the garment. So even though it's on the edge versus the length of the garment, it's valid. Others say no, just as it has to be within 1.5 inches from the edge in the width of the garment. In the length of the garment, it also has to be indented. It has to be within the garment 1.5 inches. Right. Vorach habeg korei mashe misatif bo. Derech idufu beorich. Ein lo shir. Hainu lamato di ochlasus afil pochs mekeshe agudel. Avol lamale migimel it's both possible. Okay. He said they're only arguing in regard to how close to the edge, but let's say it's too far up, then it's not on the corner. Anything above 3 inches is not on the corner, or a little more than 3 inches is not on the corner. Okay? What?
Is it discussed in here why the corners sometimes are folded up?
Usually it's folded up when the person is not really doesn't have an expertise in making tzitzis correctly. So he pulls it too tight, but it's valid, 100% valid. We had earlier, if you make the hole too far up and you pull it tightly, now the hole is within the proximity of the edge. It's not valid because material-wise, right, it's beyond 3 inches from the edge. So that's not called on the corner, it's considered above the corner. It's like artificially within the corner, but it's not the corner. In reality, it's not. Im hagodol shekorin urilaizo. It's an Arabic word. We talk about the godil is what? Is the knots and the twists. That's the godil. Hu rochov. We'll see. Lo yato bo tzitzis. Let's see what Mishna Berura says. No. Yeah. He says, Eliza. He says, Hainu mashu menichen k'tzas chuti eshri v'lo erev. Ubsof orgin. Shkosu, he says, very often, we speak about you have the warp and the woof. So you have threads. So at the edge, you have threads hanging down, meaning the one thread's going the other way, which... Yeah, similar to that. You don't have the threads going in both directions. It's not a piece of fabric. It's just... Yeshikosvu shezeu mashanu korin osu beloshin krekis. Be'chiluk bein imagodel hu be'orech habeger u be'rochbo. Okay?
What is the case of that?
The case is speaking about, at the end of the house you have like pieces of wool coming and then knotted. So that wool that comes, it's attached to the garment. They didn't. It's not fully woven. Meaning, until that point, it's woven, meaning the threads go both directions, horizontally and vertically. They crisscross, and therefore it's a fabric. Comes there, they let it hang. They let the threads just go in one direction, nothing crossed over, and therefore it's just a piece of. It's a bunch of thread.
It's like ninjas.
It's not for. It's like.
It's not a garment.
It has different consistency. So that itself is what is not valid. You can't insert tzitzis in that. Let's say at the corner you have that kind of thing coming down. Usually by the corners you don't have it. It's shaved off, and it's pretty much identifies the corner. It's usually along the edges. Let's say at the edge you would have that kind of wool coming out. When you would measure the 3 inches from the edge, is that considered the edge? Or the edge is where the material starts? So that is not called the edge because that's not fabric. It's not considered a piece of garment. It's not called beged. Hurochav lo yatul bo tzitzis. And if you put tzitzis in that material, even though how does it hold? I understand that, but it's not natural. It says on the corner of the garment. What's a garment? Garment is material. It's fabric. This is not part of the garment. It's attached. Interesting. He says, if you would insert the strings, let's say you have this unfinished part, is let's say 2 inches long, 2.5, and you insert the string in the upper part of that. It's not valid because that's not called beged. But when you measure the corner, that could be included within the calculation of corner. To measure 3 inches up, or it should not be within 1.5 inches from the edge. That's what the Mechaber says. But you could take it calculated within the amount of distance, which is the 1.5 inches that's from the knuckle joint to the end of the nail. And also considered measuring 3 inches from the corner. Why? Because where's the hole? The hole is within the garment. This is an extension of the garment. It's not the garment itself, but it's part of the garment. So to measure, you take that into the calculation. But it says you do take it. You do take it.
We can't go for 2. Let's say that's 2 inches. You can only go 1 inch.
So l'chumra, you're going to have a problem. You're going to have l'chumra. But the Rama argues, Tov sheyimdo shir kesher agudul below hagdil. Yeah, Tov has both im hagdil. No, he's saying he's taking both. He says in terms of the distance from the end, which means the 1.5 inches, it should not be counted. But in terms of the 3, it should be counted, which makes sense. Okay, let's see the